has been saying we're late.
Oh, no.
We're live, everybody. Get ready. The show was great the first time.
Here's the thing. We have a recording of the first 11 minutes of the show. And it was real good.
Has this ever happened before? Like, what do we, is this?
I've never not noticed we weren't live when I started the show. No.
Yeah.
Do you want to speed run the first one? Like literally just like the first sentence and then.
Well, okay. I mean, you could piece it together for.
Yeah. For audio, it's not a problem. We could just go right to Google Pay and pick up.
Sure.
So let's do that. I'll have to do a little editing after the fact. But for those on video, we apologize. We did not start recording or streaming live when we thought we had.
I go away for one.
I hit the button and it said stop broadcast on it. So I thought it was streaming, but I guess it was just thinking about it because I don't know. I'm
You can blame my cat Sam.
No,
and I'm tired of Sam always butting his nose into anything that
just to make sure Sam hasn't screwed something up in the future. I guess we just make sure we look at live and pay closer attention to the chat room. But yeah, Google says its assistant can control. Let's just read through without the discussion. You can get the discussion in the audio version. Let's just read through the quick hits and then we'll pick up with Google Pay.
All right. Google says its assistant can now control more than 5,000 smart devices, up from 1,500 compatible devices back in January. So quite a big jump in a short amount of time. Also closes the gap between Google and Amazon, the latter of which still works with more smart home gadgets, if we're keeping score, which we are. Voice-controlled functionality for brands like Dish's set-top box, the Hopper, and Logitech's Harmony remotes will start rolling out this month.
Amazon announced in-skill purchasing for its AI assistant, so a creator of a skill can sell content for its user. Both one-off purchases and monthly or yearly subscriptions will be available, with the transaction handled inside the skill via voice on an Echo or third-party word compatible gadget. Developers get 70% of the price paid by users, and Amazon will get the other 30%. Amazon's also adding the ability for sellers or goods of services to get paid through their voice assistant using Amazon Pay.
Goldman Sachs is launching a Bitcoin trading operation, the first of its kind. Goldman will trade Bitcoin futures contracts, not actual coin, on behalf of clients and create its own more flexible version of a future known as a non-deliverable forward. Goldman executive Rana Yared tells the New York Times that the firm believes Bitcoin doesn't have the characteristics of a currency, but a number of clients wanted to hold it as a valuable commodity.
Pocket Cast has been acquired by a collective group that includes NPR, WNYC Studios, WBEZ Chicago, and This American Life, a podcast you've probably heard of. Pocket Cast, the app, will operate as a joint venture between the new owners, Philip Simpson and Russell Ivanovic, who formed Shifty Jelly, which is podcast developer. They develop other things as well. Back in 2008, will have unspecified, at least for now, leadership roles at the new company. We don't know what the sale price was, though.
Twitter told 330 million users to change their password after a glitch exposed some passwords in plain text on its internal network. Twitter says it has no indication the passwords were misused, but encourages the change as a matter of caution.
Xiaomi filed for its initial public offering in Hong Kong, reportedly seeking to raise $10 billion US on a $100 billion US valuation. That would make Xiaomi China's third biggest technology company after Tencent Holdings and Alibaba. Meanwhile, Xiaomi also partnered with CK Hutchinson to make its phones available in Europe through 3 group stores in Austria, Denmark, Ireland, Italy, Sweden, and the UK. Non-phones will also be sold in stores in Ireland, the UK, and the Netherlands. Xiaomi already sells its full line in Spain.
The 1996 Congressional Review Act gives the U.S. Congress the power to reverse any federal regulation by passing a joint resolution of disapproval within 60 days of the rule's enactment. That also blocks the same rule from being enacted again. On May 9th, Senator Ed Markey will introduce a joint resolution to roll back the FCC's order that removed the 2015 Open Internet Guidelines. In other words, roll back net neutrality under the CRA. CRA procedures are arcane, but they allow a vote to pass with a simple majority. So it sidesteps all the committee stuff and any filibusters. Right now, 49 Senate Democrats and Republican Senator Susan Collins are on board. They think they can get Republican Senators John Kennedy or Dean Heller to flip over as well. But even if it passes the Senate, it's less clear whether they can get the House of Representatives to approve it. Not all Democrats necessarily will support it, but even if all of them did, they'd still need 25 House Republicans to have it pass the House. And after all that, the president would probably veto it. All right. I'm going to unpause now. Here we go.
Google Pay is now rolling out on the web for shopping transactions on Chrome, Safari, and Firefox, no matter the device, says Google, which also includes iOS, so iOS browsers, any browser that you use on iOS. Users can check out with a new Buy with Google Pay button on shopping sites. Users of Google's Advanced Protection Program can also now access that data on iOS native apps as well.
Well, this is so cross-platform. It's like the olden days.
Yeah, number one, I think this is Google at its best. Their web services are very often kind of beyond compare. Their UI is usually very good. It's very smart. This is a good move. And also, look, the future of this kind of payment, where you are as frictionless as we have ever been, by its very nature, kind of has to be as cross-platform as possible. So you're not thinking, I'm going to be using this and not that.
Well, in Google Pay, formerly Android Pay and Pay with Google that got married and had a baby or whatever, but can you imagine being on iOS on, some shopping site? Let's say I'm going to try to buy something and I want some frictionless payment option. It says Android Pay. I'd be like, oh, well, I can't click on that. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
So this all makes a lot more sense just as a branding, from a branding perspective, but, works with debit, credit cards, PayPal transactions, and I'm all for it.
Yeah, that's the other thing is that Google really is coming from behind the 8 ball, because when you think of Google, you don't think they definitely have my credit card unless you are already in their ecosystem for something, in the way that Amazon and Apple, I know those guys have my credit card.
Yeah, and people may be surprised now that Google Pay is all unified that they do have some payment information because, oh, right, I rented something on YouTube, or I paid for Google Play Music, or I bought a Pixel. It's now all part of that same system.
HTC tweeted a picture of of phone parts, rather, with the phrase, coming soon, a phone that is more than the sum of its specs, and the date of May 23rd. Meanwhile, Sonos sent out invites to a June 6th event in San Francisco with a picture of multiple remotes with the phrase, you're better than this.
So the best guess,
the specs are the sum of the phone, HTC, but okay.
No, not the HTC phone. It's going to have crazy cool cameras because that's new.
But that's a spec.
Well, I think this is there to say one of the common complaints about Android phones or some of the Android variants is that these are just a list of specs. They don't really work well together. And many of these features will be things that you use once and then you'll see used better in an Apple device 2 years from now. This is them trying to go against that grain and say, no, we have one cohesive, awesome product. Whether or not it will be that, we'll see.
Yeah. So they'll have a really, supposedly the leaks are saying 12 and 16 megapixel cameras, 8 megapixel front camera, but they'll say our algorithms, our AI, our software will make it easier and better. And then they'll do the same thing. They'll have the squeeze option that they always have. So, yeah.
Well, as an owner of two Sonos Ones, which are the smart speakers that work with Amazon's, Her.
Yeah.
I very much hope that I can now control my television and everything via my speaker that sits right next to my TV. I don't know. But I assume that that's what they're going for, something that's voice controlled.
I think this is very, very smart for them to get into so when you think of how to unify the best sound with the best features, you think of Sonos, which took them long enough. I think that they kind of sat, they sort of rested on their laurels because they had such great sound. And back when apps were new, it was a fairly easy way to tie all these speakers together and control them. But I think they kind of had a good snooze that they've thankfully woken up from.
You know, I was really hoping that I/O would include Google Assistant coming to my Sonos speakers.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying that that couldn't still happen, but it doesn't look likely at this point, even though that was the promise, which is part of the reason that I sprung for a more expensive speaker, that it might be AI Assistant cross-platform.
I mean, there's no reason that this announcement on June 6th might not have Google Assistant and Amazon Voice Service. That's what Sonos has been saying. Maybe they'll say like, you're whatever
right.
you want to use, it's going to be in there.
You're right. Something you're better than that. I don't know.
You're better than this means all those remotes, you're not going to need them because the new Sonos with the voice assistant will take care of it. But that could go either way.
Exactly.
Google or Amazon.
One would think that if it was Google Voice, Google's voice assistant, because a lot of us are waiting for that, you know, like, hey, any day, let's do this, that there'd be more of a, you know, some keywordage, but maybe they're just being coy.
Let's see.
Well, if they're going to do both, that's why they would avoid the keywordage. Huh? Maybe?
Stupid announcements. Just tell us what
Just tell us. Don't tell us you're gonna tell us.
Quit dancing
But
around.
don't tell us when you're going to announce it.
Open
All right.
the phono already.
Co-founder and CEO of Cloudflare, Matthew Prince, tweeted that AT&T appears to be actively preventing access to Cloudflare's alternate domain name server 1.1.1.1. Threads on Hacker News, Reddit, and DSL Reports all contain reports from AT&T customers who say that after a forced firmware update, the Cloudflare public DNS no longer works through their router. People are debating whether it's a bug or an intentional block. Hat tip to Xtazy Jam, who posted this to our subreddit. It does seem to be very likely to be a bug because 1.1.1.1 was used as kind of a garbage DNS for a long time. And Cloudflare's big deal when they launched this was, hey, we know this was a garbage address. We'll still route all your garbage stuff away. That's fine. We're not worried about that. We can handle it. We're Cloudflare, but we'll also provide domain name system. So my guess is there's something in that AT&T firmware that is messing with that because they're using it as a throwaway address. But it's been going on since early April, and AT&T hasn't fixed it. And I think that's why Matthew Prince from Cloudflare says, well, look, it seems like they're doing it on purpose at this point.
So what would be the arguments for them doing it on purpose?
That's the part that doesn't make sense because they're not blocking quad 9. They're not blocking Google. There's all these other open DNS from Cisco, other open DNS servers, public DNS servers rather, that they're not blocking. Why would they block Cloudflare? That just doesn't make any sense.
Someone needs to ring up Albert AT&T and figure that one out.
Watson, come here. We need you. Figure this out. Hey, folks, if you want to get all the tech headlines each day in about 5 minutes, be sure to subscribe to Daily Tech Headlines, available on the Amazon Echo, Google Home, the Anchor app, and at dailytechheadlines.com. Wall Street Journal sources say Amazon has been inviting people to a New York office for 3D body scanning.
What?
Mm-hmm. Come to our Manhattan office. We'll 3D body scan you.
Why would they do this, Tom?
Well, because they want to get data on your body and how it changes over time. In fact, it's a 20-week period, according to the Wall Street Journal, and participants have to be scanned every 2 weeks for 30 minutes. Now, why they would want to be doing that probably has to do with the fact that they bought the startup Body Labs in October. Body Labs software scans shape and motion. The old Body Labs website promoted it as something that could be used for games, kind of like a motion capture thing, but also for fashion in figuring out what clothes would fit you. And Amazon is expected to become the #1 apparel retailer in the United States this year. Right now, it's second to Walmart, which has an 8.7% market share. But Amazon would like to sell you more clothes. And one way to do that is to tell you, hey, it's going to fit because we scanned your body.
And this is the #1 reason that I don't buy clothes online very often. Tom and I were talking before the show earlier today where it's like, you know, shirts for the most part, it's like, I mean, I'm a small person. It's like, usually I'm just extra small, everything. But when it comes to other things, shoes, pants, like there's certain things where it's like, nah, you just got to try it on beforehand because most of the time it'll be a waste because it won't fit quite right. A 20-week period where somebody is scanning my body. Let's say I was a participant in the study. I get it. And I like the idea of like very gradual changes that just sort of, you know, happen to people. And that's probably most of the time what's going to happen. But let's say somebody was also participating in some ketosis diet, right? And maybe they're buying that stuff on Amazon too. And Amazon can get a pretty good sense of, if I were doing that, how my body shape and weight and size might change over a 20-week period. You can get a lot of data, especially with people who are like, ooh, God, things have changed a lot. I don't want to buy some online. If Amazon can pinpoint how bodies change, this starts to get really granular in a cool way, because I want to buy clothes online. I hate going shopping, but I just don't want to buy to get stuff in a box that's not going to fit.
And all of this is awesome and amazing if we can get past how awkward and awful people immediately think about, hey, please scan my body. There are many.
Well, they're not making anybody do it. It's a voluntary study.
Sure. But there's Amazon's ability to build this in and their ability to make this better will be dependent on people using it. Because the aggregate data is going to be the most important and impressive in a world where a lot of other people would want to do this. What I'm curious to see is beyond this trial, what is the home version of our game for this? Because I agree with you, Sarah, that when you really think about it, our bodies don't change all that much. And yet, because of our culture and how we think about stuff, we constantly think there's more of a hesitation because, what if my body changes one way or another? Now all of a sudden I'm invalidating that data, when really you're correct. The more you get, the more it could even adjust, to know, like, hey, you've been ordering a lot of highly caloric food, or you're on the ketosis diet.
Between Amazon groceries and Whole Foods, we know exactly how much you've been eating.
Exactly. Yeah.
There are a lot of diets. You might gain a lot of weight. You might, become pregnant. I mean, there's, bodies change.
Exactly. But in reality, they don't change all that much. And you could gain a tremendous amount of data by doing this. However, the question, I think, still remains, specifically in this world of, oops, we left all your passwords open on a laptop and Twitter and the Facebook stuff, where we are in a more literate world of data privacy. Do we want that data out there?
Oh, like there's going to be a body weight breach.
Yeah.
And all the participants are going to be, mortified. And
Amazon's new partner, Emmer Data, for instance, comes along. And a few thoughts on this. One is just the idea that I wouldn't have to guess if this company's large is really large. Is this size 4 really a size 4? I think that is helpful on its own. I think that collecting all this data to create a machine learning model that could then use the Amazon Echo Look, which, remember, they've kind of been just, pushing that out there to try. If suddenly the Look can look at you and say, oh, based on all this research we've done, we have a pretty good idea what your size is. That's huge. But it all rests on what Justin says. I hate to keep going back to that, but until we trust, it's not about volunteering anymore. It's not about saying, hey, I am opting in. It's about, I'm opting in, and then I want control over that data. I want to be able to take it back. I want to know exactly what you're doing with it and who you're sharing it with.
And look, there's some people that want to step on that scale in the front of the Publix, and there's some people who would rather shoot themselves. And that, I think, is a very, very thick dividing line.
I really do think, we're going to have to see this in action with Amazon, and I'm sure a lot of other companies will follow suit, but there's a difference between someone being like, oh, I'm a size 6. It's like, well, what kind of size 6 are you? And so the 3D scanning model, and I know that there's a creepiness factor and, we're going to get past it or we're not. That is really going to come in handy because no two bodies are the same. So if you can get a pretty good idea of what you're going to look like in that bathing suit without having to go to a dressing room and cry, because that's what happens when you do that in real life.
One of the reasons I subscribe to the Mr. Collection is I got a pair of pants for them that fit. And I'm like, okay, their measurements work. The brands they work with work. I'm not messing with that because finding pants that fit is impossible for me. And I hate trying on clothes. It's the worst.
I do think that there is a valuable lesson to hear that I think it is probably more valuable for women's clothes than it is for men's clothes. I think women's fashion, maybe anecdotally, for me, seems to be a lot more particular and variable amongst different brands. And not to say that it's not the same with men, but men seem to have less of an issue with it.
Hey, thanks to everybody who participates in our subreddit. You can submit stories and vote on them at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com and facebook.com/groups/Daily Tech News Show. Let's check the mailbag, Sarah.
Greg Lane, who says he's not related to me, but how would you know that, Greg? You probably are in some sense. Says, actually had this is a really interesting email. Says, probably flew under the radar, doesn't affect end users directly, but Google Maps has just become Google Maps platform with a big price hike to developers and integrators. The old system provided about 25,000 free impressions per day, with extra impressions billed at 50 cents per thousand. The new system provides 28,000 free impressions per month, less than 1,000 impressions per day, with extra impressions billed at $7 per thousand. Huge hike. I run a site that makes extensive use of Google Maps. Under the new pricing, our charges would go up from $70 a month to about $6,000 per month. No way we could afford this, even with the volume pricing they've leased us with. So we'd be switching to OpenStreetMaps with Leaflet. The impetus seems to be to cash in on apps that make extensive use of the API. Think Uber or others who rely on mapping. But for other companies, obviously, going to be an issue. This might actually be a positive. It'll invigorate interest in OpenStreetMaps or maybe others, which has been languishing for a few years. Also expect Uber, Lyft, and other location-based apps to invest in their own mapping solutions. They're going to have to at this point. You know, it's too expensive. Thanks for the show. Keep up the excellent work.
Thanks for the insight, Greg. And I hope this does.
This is not something like I hadn't seen anything about this before, but that's an insane price.
And also, Uber has been investing in their own map stuff, right? Yeah. I seem to remember that was something that
or some of the car companies as well. They teamed up on buying Nokia's Here platform. So
yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, when licensing deals go up like this, a company really has no choice, especially if you're big enough to be Uber and, you know, have your own development.
I do think that there is just a general thing that we have seen on the internet as kind of the rise of the prosumer has, things have flattened out with so many tools available on the internet that you've really seen enterprise pricing become more of a tricky wicket, because the line between who's the big cash cows and who's the plucky startups that might eventually become a cash cow are becoming thinner and thinner.
Well, Justin Robert Young, always a pleasure to have you on Thursdays and sometimes Mondays and, you know, other days as well. Tell folks what you've been up to since we saw you last.
Well, you want to know what I have been doing? I'm glad you asked. I've been writing this free political newsletter. See, every morning, right there in your inbox, you get 5, maybe more stories. And listen, I'm not going to bore you with some gigantic War and Peace screed. It's going to be just the facts, maybe a little hot takery in a sentence or two, but mostly gifts. And most of those gifts are from the Chappelle Show. So if that's interesting, then what do you say you go ahead and sign up? It's free. freepoliticalnewsletter.com. In all seriousness, it's a great way to keep in the know with the political scene without having to dive into the garbage dump that is so much of where people read about politics every day of their lives.
Thank you to every single patron who makes this show possible. As I mentioned yesterday, we do have a line on a bonus video involving a tarantula that hopefully I'll have ready sometime next week to thank you for hitting our monthly goal of at least one patron more than last month. Also, we just added DTNS baseball caps to the Daily Tech News Show store. They'll start shipping out on May 17th, but you can go ahead and order them now. And in fact, if you're a patron, look at today's column post. If you're at the $5 level and above, might be a little more information about getting a discount or something in there. But check that out, dailytechnewsshow.com/store.
Hat Friday just got more fun. At least for me. Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. If you have a suggestion of what we should put in our store next, we'd love to hear it. We're live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 2030 UTC, and you can find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live.
Back tomorrow with Nicole Lee from Engadget and Len Peralta illustrating. Talk to you then.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
Boom.
Hey, good show.
And boom goes the dynamite.
Oh,
Bonus show.
I'm sorry.
Roger, I am not going to get mad at you because you're already madder at yourself than anyone else could ever be.
I saw it.
I believe you.
color.
I believe you. I don't know what happened either.
I should have kept my eye.
I mean, it's amazing that this is like
Things happened. Exactly.
Yeah, right. You know, if this is the first time this has happened, we're in good shape.
Yeah.
I when I was doing headlines this morning, because it starts early, and I'm usually sucking down my coffee and trying to get my head around everything that's going on, and I wasn't on the show yesterday, and so there's 16
Amazon stories, and they all look the same.
There's 16 Amazon stories, and I'm writing the one about Amazon launching its own pet food line, and and I kept it kept sort of like the spreadsheet would revert back, and I was like, after a while, I was like, I'm going crazy. I kept parsing this, and it kept going back, and then I realized, no, that was just in a cell right above the one that I just kept messing up. It was just one of those things. I don't know. It was a glitch in the matrix.
Exactly. You saw Sam run by you twice. And you're like, wait a minute.
I was like, how many cats do I have?
I'm going to say I like two titles.
Okay.
Out of the list so far is Amazon Stop Checking My Body Out. The other one is Amazon. Where did it go? Amazon. Oh yeah, Amazon.
If I said I had a 3D body scanner, would you come to my New York office?
Oh, are you an Amazon Prime body? That was the other one.
Prime body.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, but it's not. That's.
Tom,
thank you for making my Goldman Sachs story make more sense. You added better context than.
You know what I did?
Mm.
I took out the one phrase you had in there. I don't remember what it was that said, they won't be actually trading coins. And I lifted the phrase from the Goldman Sachs press release.
Got it.
Like, I think I understand what this means, but this is exactly what they're saying they're doing. So
yeah, it sounded better.
What about Amazon wants to know what you're wearing?
Something about 3D.
3D body scans now available on Amazon.
All right. I'm going to actually mute you guys. You guys keep talking. You're still being recorded.
You have to do a little something else.
Yeah, but I have to listen to this. So
okay. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Amazon Stop Checking My Body Out. Oh, I already said that one.
But Amazon's going to start checking your body out.
They want your body.
Amazon wants your body. What was that Samantha Fox song?
Uh-oh.
No, never mind. Now I'm getting weird. Okay.
How about what about?
Wait, now I'm looking up. Touch Me, I Want Your Body.
I think that's the only Samantha Fox song I know.
Yeah.
But that song was like, I was young enough where I remember like listening to that and being like, oh, I know what this is about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of racy.
It was. Yeah.
Our bodies are pixels. No.
Roger, what do you like?
I like Are You an Amazon Prime body, but everyone thought that was kind of awkward.
It's not. It's just not necessarily for only Amazon Prime. That's the only reason
I do kind of like Breach Body.
That sounds like a whale. No, we can't do that.
Oh, you think of you're not it's not like Are You Ready for Breach season?
You can look at it so many ways because it's painful.
Yeah, we all feel that.
No, you're right. If anybody thinks that that's a whale thing, then absolutely not. I also like paying closer attention to the chat room. That's good.
There's also Amazon meets TSA.
Oh, got it. Yeah, patting down. Mm-hmm.
Well, and the body scanning, right? They have the
Right.
scanner.
Amazon has body image issues.
Yeah.
They're all close.
Scanazon?
Scamazon. Yeah.
Ooh,
I guess you
Amazon
couldn't
has
say
body-
Scamazon because that would indicate something else.
Amazon has body image issues. That's pretty good.
I mean, okay, that one's good.
I mean, that's literally what
Yeah.
they're doing.
Yeah.
So Amazon has body image issues. Eh.
All right. It's all about that bikini season, guys.
Luckily, I don't wear bikinis.
Well, maybe
ever.
you should start. Show off.
It's true. Like, I don't, I mean, I'm lucky enough to not care so much about, weight or whatever. But I will say that without fail, if I go to any department store or any store that sells a bathing suit of any kind,
Yeah.
and I try it on in the dressing room, I will leave dejected,
Feeling worse than when you walked
get
in.
myself an ice cream and be like, I'm hideous.
Yeah.
You'd think that they would have invested a lot more time and effort into making dressing rooms just super flattering, but they're not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, you know what's bad is when you
slightly
go out.
curved mirrors that elongate you.
And sometimes I look at it and I'm like, I see what they're doing here, but like the lighting is still bad, and
It does.
the carpet on the dressing room floor is you're just like, I hate this. I want to leave.
Yeah, like your feet are touching something gross. If you have
like you're just like, you don't feel good.
It has all the lighting charm of a warehouse.
Right. Yeah. It's like I don't even go to dressing rooms anymore. I'm like,
They should have like fake sand and like ambient sound,
palm trees and
palm trees and everything.
Maybe a Mai Tai.
Just maybe like wild lines, like just like, hey, looking good, like just something like that, like just in the background.
Do you still have the two-way mirrors where they like have someone making sure you're not like
that seems like a real
making sure you're not what?
Yeah,
that you're not like shoplifting.
Oh, was that
Remember
a thing?
that was a big thing. In dressing rooms, there are two-way mirrors, and people. They even did an episode on Roseanne on it, where she was like,
that's illegal.
I mean,
that's that. There's a fine line between loss prevention and keeping Tom.
Yeah, like it's like that doesn't really fly. Like we're gonna have to watch you using the restroom because maybe you'll be doing drugs. Like what? No, like. Like you can't just do that to people. That's a private space. People are changing.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you what. It's one of those things where I am very curious to know how easy their solution is for a home kind of thing. Or you want to know what? I wouldn't be shocked. Like my wife Ashley loves ModCloth. ModCloth, like her favorite.
ModCloth is very popular with some of my friends as well.
So she loves it, and every once in a while they got these little pop-up shops in San Francisco, and so she'll always go. I will guarantee you, if ModCloth said, "Now we're featuring, make your appointment online, come in, we'll scan your body, and now you will have mega accurate sizing on everything at ModCloth," she would take off of work to go do it.
Yeah.
Like so I do think there's, I don't know if it would ever necessarily entice me, but I dress like a trash bag. So like, there's not really a lot of times where I'm like, I'm sorry, this wrestling t-shirt doesn't fit well. Like I'll just throw it away and buy another cheap shirt.
Yeah.
But like for Ashley, I know it would be a tremendous value add.
I'm wondering if they could put all those stats onto like a little baseball card so you can trade them with your friends.
Why you have the worst instincts on this story? Like you're just like everything is a Black Mirror horror story.
I just feel like I don't shop very often. I mean, I've probably had this for 10 years, but
I'm just saying though, this is a good look with the striped look with the
stripes that kind of match, but don't really. Thank you. I appreciate that. But I just, I like what I like. And if I have a staple that I know will last a while and will fit nice, I'll pay more knowing that like, it's more of a decade purchase. I don't buy like a lot of like crappy cheap things because I'm afraid that they're going to fall apart, which they often do. So it's like, these are the reasons that if I was going to spring for like my favorite brand of jeans, which are expensive, but if they fit perfectly, I'm going to wear those things every day for a long time, then I'd buy them from Amazon for sure.
Yeah.
I am so lucky that the only jeans that really fit me in any sort of flattering way are Levi's 501s, and I have a set size I can just order off Amazon.
Yeah. See, I don't. I mean, I don't. I mean, I know, you know what my size is for the most part, but it's like it's still a very, you know,
Touchy subject.
yeah, like my favorite brand of jeans, they also have lots of different styles. So like a new style will come out and it's like, if I don't go to that store and try it on, like, I don't know, you know, because they'll be like skinny or cigarette leg or, you know, high waist or mid waist or low rise or, you know, the list goes on. It's a part-time job, really.
I do not. I'm glad I don't have an eye for fashion. Like I don't care.
Oh, what did we end up going with?
So we went out. We went with Amazon has body image issues.
Amazon.
I like how it sounded like Tom was like, let me roll that over in my head, but he was just typing it out. Amazon has Prime.
I was telling Justin and Sarah that like when you go in, they should print out your little stats on a little baseball card with your face on it. They'll say like rookie or whatever on it, and then you could trade them with your friends. And Justin was lambasting me, saying that it was a very terrible idea, and I have terrible instincts.
No, because it came after you said that there should be two-way mirrors in dressing room.
No, I didn't say there should be. I was asking, do they still do the two-way mirrors?
I don't think so, Roger. Let's hope not.
Yeah. But then also it's like people are so sensitive about their body issues. Why would anybody want like, oh, let me trade my body metric?
Oh no, there's some people who are very proud of the bodies that they've worked on at the gym for like years and years.
Okay, yeah, no, that I could see. If you could scan and you and your whole CrossFit crew,
like if you were smart and you got into Mensa, wouldn't you like to have a card that said you were a member of Mensa? I mean, that's just like a badge of honor.
But
could you just do the same thing with your? No.
I mean, but also the biggest calling card for you having a really good body is you having a really good body. Like, I don't think you need another certification.
What does this have to do with two-way mirrors? And
It doesn't. Like,
what is with the assumption that they're like this is a common thing in dressing rooms?
I like how Roger's like, are they still doing that thing where they spy on everybody?
Yeah,
with the two-way mirrors.
Because you know we all knew they were doing that.
It was a thing. Remember in the 90s? People.
It was not a thing.
I think like one company was, you know, accused of doing this. And they tried to say, well, we were trying to combat theft because it had gotten so bad. It wasn't like this was a thing that happened.
Yeah, like I'm sure there was an instance. That sounds familiar, but I don't think that means that like, oh, all the dressing rooms back then had that.
I also don't think the whole body scanning thing, like the whole point is not even really to be like, I'm so fit. It's more, you'd almost want to do it like on your worst day. Where you'd be like, yeah, just scan me.
Yeah,
like,
this is not about showing off to anyone. No. You want this to be only used for you.
Right.
And to fit your clothes. That's it.
That's right. That's
right? Am I wrong about that?
And to be realistic about it. You know, because it's like, even if, you know, it's like, I have pants in my closet just off camera where I'm like, oh, you know, I'll get back into them eventually.
Oh, the other one that BioCow came up with is the assistant, does this scan make me look fat?
I think we just need to stay. I mean, like the body image issues is like that's clever enough because it is about body images, like like literal body images.
Right. Yeah, the technology is not about weight loss.
No,
it's about fitting clothes to your actual body.
But y'all picked Amazon has body image issues.
Yes.
Okay, just making sure.
We did. That's what we picked.
All right, good.
Yeah.
You could Although the one that I liked the most until Sarah pointed out the other horrifying read on it was Amazon breech body.
Oh, the whale thing. I heard that. Yeah.
So and then Sarah was rightly like, let's not conjure up images of whales.
Breaching whales.
So many ways to go wrong.
Breaching, beached whale. Like, let's just.
What do you say? Yeah.
Yeah. The last thing we need is for people to be like, DTNS has gotten really rude to,
Yeah.
body image issues.
Definitely not.
I think the stats card thing is going to go far.
By the way, I just looked through a quick search on two-way mirrors and dressing rooms, and I was able to find nothing about it.
Roger, hey, are they still doing that two-way mirror thing where they just look at you naked in the dressing room?
Wait, you looking naked? Who takes off all their clothes in a dressing room?
I do. What if I'm trying a dress on?
Yeah.
What am I going to be wearing?
Exactly. What if I'm trying a dress on?
Right. That
I wanna
too.
know it-
Hey, equal opportunity dressing.
Shapes.
Ah. I mean, it's
Well, also,
You know.
just
Just
a
wear
violation of
boxers.
privacy.
yeah. I mean, sure, I guess you'd have underwear on, but still, that's basically naked. I still don't want you looking at me on the other side of the mirror.
Too naked for a stranger to be doing it without my permission.
Right. Even if I'm fully clothed wearing a trench coat, I don't want you looking at me on the other side of the mirror.
That's a no from me.
Oh,
Hard
yeah.
pass.
All right. On that worthy note, any final thoughts before we go?
0.
See ya.
Nope.
Thank you for staying with us today after some minor technical difficulties.
Yes.
Thanks,
Pardon the
everybody.
interruption.
Pardon the dust, the construction.
That's already a show on ESPN, guys.
Oh. All right. Well,
right.
see you guys tomorrow
Yeah.
with Nicole Lee and Len Peralta.
Woohoo.